Smart homes are incredibly useful and for many people can be very life-changing since they can take the worry out of having to stay on schedule for certain things, or it can help you automate very basic things without you having to worry about anything. But while a smart home is very helpful, it can also get very daunting very fast. In today's video, I want to take you on a tour of a smart home that I set up from scratch so you can see how it is relatively easy and simple for many of us to do. I'd love to tell you more, so let's talk tech. I'm Arnell with Ardently Tech, and the first thing you're going to want to do if you are setting up a smart home is to figure out which platform you're going to want to stick with. Now, there's other companies out there, but we're going to focus on the big three, and that is going to be the Google Home, the Apple HomeKit, and Amazon Alexa. And also, trigger warning for the rest of this video, I am going to be mentioning Homegirl's name throughout the video, so if that is going to set off any of your smart home devices, well, I am sorry, you are warned. There's a lot to like about all three, but for me, I found a good rhythm with the Amazon Alexa ecosystem. So that's what we're going to focus on in today's video. I like the Echo devices a lot because with the various devices like the regular Echo, the Echo Dot, the Echo Show, well, all of these also feature Bluetooth speakers, so that way you can listen to music all throughout the house. You can also chain link if you want to listen to music in all of the rooms in your house. They connect very easily. The moment that you plug one in, it automatically detects that and helps to alleviate the setup process. So that way the setup with 1 or 10 of these Echo devices is going to be relatively simple and straightforward. They're also great for pairing certain essentials like your smart plugs and your smart bulbs, to where with certain brands, the moment that you plug those in, the Echo devices are going to pick that up and it's automatically going to start pairing to enter it into your Alexa smart home. The first essential that I recommend you getting, while you don't necessarily need to get an Echo device, I highly recommend that you get one, because while you can set up all of the routines and all of the smart home products like your bulbs and your plugs and appliances, you can do all of these things without even having an Echo device and just setting them all up in the app itself. What I like about the Echo devices is that now I don't have to pull out my phone or my iPad every time I want to turn on a light switch or turn on an appliance. I can simply do it with the sound of my voice. And while you can also do that just in the apps by just having the app open, I don't necessarily always want to open up the app and pull out my phone just so I can use my voice. It's just much easier to spend a little bit of extra money and get those Echo devices, so that way I can just use these devices hands-free without actually having to, like I said, whip out my phone or anything like that. All right, so kicking off this tour, we're gonna start off in my favorite room in the entire house, and that would be the kitchen. In the kitchen, what's extremely helpful is having an Echo Show 5. You could also go with an Echo Show 8, the larger screen, but for me, I like the Echo Show 5. It's great, it doesn't take up too much counter space, and it allows me to easily glance at the time, be able to control other smart devices throughout my house, be able to pull up recipes, be able to watch videos. Maybe I'm watching a recipe video and I can just watch it right then and there, and I can do a whole lot of other things, ask basic questions from the kitchen right there in the morning when I wake up. Something that might be a little bit more unique for some people is actually having a smart bulb in the vent fan that is right over the stove. And so for me, what I really like having a smart bulb installed in there is that I can set a routine to automatically have a nightlight turn on in the kitchen, being that smart bulb, and I can also turn it on, turn it off whenever I need to. We have a NixPlay digital frame that allows us to show different pictures on the screen at various times, but what I really like about NixPlay's automation with Alexa is that it allows you to set up various playlists. So maybe you have a family of 4, for example, and you can set up a playlist to have pictures of one person, pictures of another person, pictures of another person. So that way, when their birthdays come up and you can set up these playlists ahead of time, that way you can see these pictures of these people that, you know, grew up through over the years and different things like that. We also have a Samsung range that is mostly great, except for the fact that it's partially broken. You know what they say about Samsung appliances, right? Yeah, in our case, the door lock is electronically controlled. There's no way to physically turn off the door lock, and so now our stove is basically just a stove top. It is out of warranty, and so we can't actually open the oven, but that's okay. It's a relatively cheap fix. We just haven't gotten around to it. When it was working fine, it was great being able to remotely preheat the oven. Let's say I was leaving from work and I have a 15-minute commute. I could just preheat the oven remotely from my phone through the Amazon Alexa app, and that way I can have the stove and the oven preheated to where I am just ready to go and able to just put things right in the oven and start cooking. So it really helps to cut down some of that time and do it all automatically. Moving over to the living room, we have a Roku TV that allows us to turn on the TV, turn it off, raise the volume, mute it, be able to pull up different channels and apps, all from the sound of our voice because it's connected to our Amazon Alexa ecosystem. We also have a smart tower fan by Dreo that I really like because I'm able to set up a schedule to automatically turn on the fan at a low speed in the mornings, and I'm able to set it up to be a little bit higher speed at night if I want it to be a little cooler in the living room, and I can turn on the fan at any point during the day, raise and lower the speed, and like I said, set up those schedules and all these different things all from the Amazon Alexa app. We have a smart thermostat as well. This one we actually got through the same company that made our AC system, but there's big ones out there from like Nest and Ecobee. But in our case, our Train thermostat works wonderful as well. We're able to set up a schedule to raise and lower the temperature, whether we're home or we're away. We can set it up to be based purely on time. We can also just verbally adjust it with the Echo Show by simply saying, you know, raise the temperature, lower the temperature, and it automatically does that by 2 or 3 degrees. And so it's great being able to just adjust things on the fly from anywhere in the house. Let's say I am in the office and I want to adjust that. Well, I don't have to actually get up from the office and go all the way over to the living room. I'm able to just do it right from here. It's also great because it notifies us when it's time to change our air filter, and so that way it just takes all the guesswork and the worry of having to remember when you need to do it or setting up a schedule. You're just being able to be notified when you need to do it, and you're good to go. Now, one thing I'm looking forward to doing is we have a lot of recessed lighting in the ceiling in our living room, and we could go the route of replacing all of the recessed lighting in the ceiling or simply just replacing the wall switch on the wall. We're going to go the route of replacing that wall switch because it's going to be much cheaper than replacing every single ceiling light. Now, while we won't be able to adjust the color temperatures of the lights themselves, that's totally fine. We're more so just caring about setting up an automatic schedule of turning on and off the lights, dimming the lights when it's sunset, and things like that. So these are things that you can do with a smart switch or with a smart bulb or smart lighting. But in our case, we're gonna go that switch route, and it's honestly much less expensive than replacing all of those lights, especially if you have a father-in-law with electrician experience. Thanks, Pete. Also, speaking of routines and setting up schedules, let me know down in the comments below if you want to see a more in-depth video on setting up routines and automation ideas. Moving over to the playroom, we don't have a whole lot, but we do have some smart lighting in the ceiling light and also the ceiling fan, and also an Echo Dot to be able to put on some music and listen to those cool Kid Jams playlists. Also, an interesting thing about our home, it's an older home built in the 70s, and so what's kind of weird is that all of these ceiling lights don't have an actual wall switch to turn on the ceiling fan or the ceiling lights. And so in our case, we had a light that was installed in the playroom that wasn't connected to a ceiling fan, and so the only way to turn that on would be by putting in a smart bulb like we have there, where we can just verbally tell it to turn on the light, turn off the light. By getting a smart bulb, you're able to just do all that stuff verbally or by the app, and it just helps to make things a little bit more convenient, especially if you don't have access to a wall plug, like in our case. In one of the bedrooms, actually in the kids' bedroom, we actually have a smart light that changes lights and also has a pretty cool rainbow party feature. We also have a noisemaker that turns on a schedule and turns off automatically, and that way the noisemaker at night just turns on right when it's bedtime, and then in the morning we don't have to worry about turning it off or unplugging it, it just turns off by itself. And probably my favorite part of the kids' room is we have an okay to wake light. So basically what this means is there is a light that will automatically turn on whether we want to turn on the light based on sunrise and sunset, or if we want to set it to a specific schedule. But what's really cool, especially for the parents out there, you'll totally get what I mean by this. the light will actually turn on and we set it to turn to green, which means that it's okay to wake up now. This is the morning, especially for your kids that are younger, that don't have a concept of time. They might wake up at 4 in the morning and think that's a perfectly fine time to wake up for the day. And so we are able to actually have this light that tells them it's okay to wake up for the day now. In our master bedroom, we have a couple of smart lighting features. So we have some smart pendants, we have a smart ceiling fan, and we also have a couple of other really cool smart things as well. One of the most useful smart home products is a smart plug. These plugs we're looking at today are from a company called Atree, which we are so thankful that they helped to sponsor this video. Atree is a company that has affordable and high quality smart plugs that don't break the bank. At a very reasonable price, you're able to basically turn any dumb device that you have in your house into a smart device, because in our case, we have a fan in our room that is just a simple $10 fan at Walmart. And so we plugged this fan in to the smart plug, and now this allows us to leave the fan on, but then we can cut the power to it anytime that we need to. And it is really good for a bunch of other things like a coffee machine and other things that might be around your house that all that they might need is just somebody to simply press a button that says to turn it on. And so in this case, you can leave it in the on position, leave it plugged in to this smart plug. That way you're cutting on and off the power. And so like in my case, I'm somebody that's actually very paranoid about having a camera in the house, but what I actually really like is being able to plug in my Wisecam into the smart plug, because while I know in the app you can actually turn off the Wisecam by pressing a button on your phone, I don't necessarily trust that. I don't know if it's actually turning it off. I don't know if there's some server out there where just because I pressed a button on my phone, if it actually physically cut off the power to the camera. I don't know. I might be proven wrong in the comments down below, but what I like is that I can plug this into a smart plug, and that way I know that I've physically cut the power off and there is no possible way that the camera is actually getting any power. And so that way, during the day when I'm home walking around, I don't have the camera on and I don't need it actually watching me do stuff around the house. I can turn it on at night when nobody's going to be walking around or doing anything, and so that way I just have the peace of mind of knowing that my Wisecam is working when I want it to, but this other completely unrelated company and unrelated brand of plug is cutting off the power to it, and so I know that there's physically no way that this is getting any power. Speaking of Wisecams, in some other areas of our house, we have Wise cameras like in the garage. It's great being able to just keep an eye on what's going on in the garage at any given time. Or our doorbell, we're able to see what's going on outside. We're able to answer the doorbell from anywhere, whether we're home or not. And by pairing it to our Echo Show, we're able to pull up the live camera feed from these different cameras at any time using just our voice. We also have a Simply Safe alarm system that we're able to automate and set up a schedule to turn it on or off at any given time. What I absolutely love about smart homes is that there is virtually no limit to what you can do. Honestly, the sky is the limit in your creativity and how far and how much you want to automate your home. You can go just the simple route of getting simple smart plugs and smart bulbs that just automatically connect to your Amazon Alexa devices. Or you can go a creative and unique route by getting things like blinds that automatically open up when it's sunrise and automatically close at the end of the day. Or smart robot vacuums and mops that just keep the floors clean without you having to do a single thing. And probably my biggest tip throughout this whole video is make sure you're getting products that can not only work with what is working with your current ecosystem, a lot of the products also work with other smart home systems like the Google Home or the Apple HomeKit. And so a lot of times when you're buying the plugs, bulbs, and appliances and other things like that, a lot of times they will advertise what features and what products and companies that they work with. And so if you try to get products that work with a wide range of features, well, then you're better off in case you ever want to switch from Amazon Alexa over to Apple HomeKit, for example. That way you're not locked into one specific company and you're able to move around whenever you need to. But hey, if you stuck around for this long, make sure you're subscribed and check out either one of these videos here, and I'll catch you in one of those videos. Peace.